Good afternoon guys, and welcome to Mainline Baits Carp Fishing TV, and you join me as what I would class as, you know, one of my sort of regulars and one of my sort of locals as well, which is the mighty Farlows Lake in the Colne Valley in Buckinghamshire. And yeah, I fished here for probably 20 years now, so I'd like to think I've got a good knowledge about the lake and the stock and where to find them at certain times of the year. And yeah, there really is some absolute gems in here. Like I mentioned, we're in the Colne Valley, and the Colne Valley is known for producing some absolutely incredible carp, and Farlows has that in abundance. Now, I got here ahead of the cameraman. I actually got here yesterday evening. Not been down here for a few months, so I wanted to sort of like, you know, get back into tune with it, get my feet on the ground, see a few fish, and then get myself in a swim. When I got down here yesterday, it was actually fairly busy. You know, the conditions were really good for it. Bit of rain, bit of drizzle, a bit of wind as well, and yeah, it was busy, so I had to sort of slot in really. And I slotted in a few swims to my left in peg 42. Good night's fishing though. I managed 5 bream to begin with, which is all part and parcel of Farlows. But then the carp came on the spot, and I had 3 very nice carp and 1 very, very nice carp, which I'm sure we'll show you a picture of. But while I was up playing these fish in the early hours, what I saw has put me in good stead for today. Now, I didn't have many fish in front of me. I had a few, you know, I caught a few as well. But to my right, there was an abundance of carp, and at Farlows, they do love a show. They're not shy about giving the game away and where they are. Not always during the day, but late evenings, early mornings, but more particular through the early hours. And we had a bit of a full moon last night, so I could see everything. And like I mentioned, to my right, crazy amount of carp. And as I was photographing one, a lad came down in his car and said, I'm off, have a good trip. And I was like, oh, I wonder where he's gone from. So I had a little walk down, and peg 44 was free, which is absolutely bang on where I saw all these carp. So yeah, tonight we're gonna press the reset button and see if we can get amongst a few more. Well, it has been a long old day in the sun today, really hot. I think it's the hottest day of the year, above sort of 27 degrees. And if I'm honest with you, this area that I'm fishing is not really suited for them hot conditions. And the reason be it's fairly deep out there, sort of 11, 12 foot. There's not a lot of wind, so I'm not really expecting a lot of activity on the alarms today. So what I've decided is drag the rods in, give these fish a little bit of free rein. You know, they've just had a spawn about 10 days ago, right down the other end of the lake. And they've come up to here, which to me is actually like, and the bailiff team as well, is actually quite a surprise. You know, you'd expect them to be in and around the weed beds this time of the year, around the islands, just chilling out, having a good time. But they decided to have their good time right in the middle of the pond, sitting over deep water. Now, they're hungry. You know, like I said, they've had a good spawn. A lot of these fish now are down sort of 6, 7, 8, if not 8, 9, 10 pound down. And they need to sort of replenish that. And the only way to do that is through food. And this is the area of the lake where they do get fed. You know, around the islands, in the snags, everyone's just doing little bags in their bait boats and just trying to nick bites. They know this is their area to get fed. So this is probably the reason why they're down here, and I want to give them that food, okay? But like I mentioned, it's fairly deep out there, but it's also really barren. There's nothing out there, you know, there's no bars in this particular swim, there's no plateau, there's no weed to sort of like, you know, there's no spot out there that I'm fishing to. So my spot is through bait. So I need to make my bait as attractive as possible because it is fairly deep out there. You know, there's no real visual aspect, so it's all smell and attraction that's gonna draw them down to the spot. So the bait that I've got in with, I've got some 15mm link, okay, I've crumbed that down. Now, whenever you crumb down boilies, it's gonna go sort of like light, and it needs something to sort of really boost it and make it sort of super juicy. So I've added loads of fish smart liquid to it. You know, that's gonna heavy the mix up, send loads of attraction into that crumb, get it to the bottom to send food signals back up and hopefully drag some of these fish down to the bottom. And to that mix, I've added some 10mm link, okay, some sort of smaller food items, and then some 15mm link also. So I've got a really good bucket of bait. I've knocked up exactly 3 kilos, and I'm gonna probably put exactly that in off the get-go. Like I said, they've had a spawn, they're definitely hungry, they need to replenish, and boilies is a fantastic way of getting that nutrition back into them so they can carry on and get big throughout the summer and back into autumn. So yeah, I'm gonna give them this bit of bait, get 3 rods on the spot with a matching hook bait, and I'll probably go with a little link wafter over the top. And hopefully, come dark, once this sun goes down a little bit, A few will start showing and hopefully a few will get down and we'll start catching a few. While my boilie mix drew in all that lovely smart liquid attraction, I set about preparing my rigs with slow sinking match the hatch hook baits using the link quads and cork dust wafters that had also been soaking in fish smart liquid, adding a little foam for buoyancy for the perfect balance. Having located some fish during the previous night and with a good idea that bite time would most probably be during the cooler hours of darkness or at first light, there wasn't any real rush to get the rods out and baited. It was far more important to take my time and spot up accurately, like super accurately. Remember, I wasn't fishing to a lake feature like a gravel hump, a bar or a weed bed. I was fishing open water with a clear uniform lake bed where my bait would be the key feature. So I wanted my bait to be a nice tight area and not spread around too much, creating a small feeding zone for carp to home in on and draw them down to my 3 hook baits that were all sitting on the same spot. Okay, I had a fair bit of bait to get out there, but in this scenario, avoid the temptation to rush. Take your time, be accurate, and then happily sit back with a brew. With one last check of the hook point, it was time to get the rods out, not forgetting the basic yet vitally important key fundamentals: lining up, casting accurately, which again was super important, and obviously feeding the lead to the lake bed itself. Close enough isn't good enough. Too many times I see anglers settle for casts slightly off the spot or didn't hit or rather clissed the line clip, when bite time is sometimes hours away and there's plenty of time. So take the time, get the rods bang on the money and allow the line to sink. Bobbins on and happy with the rods, I hoped a dark Farlows carp wasn't far away to match the dark moody sky. What a start to the morning this has been. It's nothing short of hectic. 3 fish with this one here in a space of probably 45 minutes. Every rod has gone now. And yeah, this one here looks a very nice fish indeed, but we've got a full house. We've got fish in every net, so this one's gonna have to be netted with this one. Yeah, definitely got on that bait. Yeah, lovely mirror, that one. Lovely fat mirror. Come on, girl. Oh. Come on, sweetheart, all the way to the net. Get in there, girl. Yes! What a morning, man. That's sick. Oh yeah, he's a nice one too. He's a really nice one. He's fat as mud. He is fat as mud. Get in there. Well, what a start to the morning. Very, very quiet night, not a bleep, but that sun just rose above the trees and the old bobbins leapt into action. 2 smaller commons also that are definitely going to spawn out and looking for a bit of food. And this one here that has not quite spawned out yet, just being a bit of a fatty before it drops its eggs. 26 pound 9 ounces, definitely on the bait. And I tell you what, there's a good chance, I reckon, of another couple before it gets too warm today. Well, this one has caught us both completely off guard, middle of the day, but we've managed to get ourselves a bite. And even though it's doing its very, very best, and you can see all the bubbles coming up to get us in this little bit of silkweed that's in the margin. Come out. Just steady pressure and she'll pop out in a minute. Come on. Lovely little scaly one, this one. Oh yeah, he's a cracker. Beautiful little fish. Come on, girl, nearly there, nearly there. We got it. We got it. Well, what do you make of that? Is that not an absolute specimen of a carp, and totally out of the blue? You know, that sun is well high in the sky now. If I be honest with you, I honestly thought we'd be sitting behind motionless alarms now till sort of tomorrow morning, but this one has chose to have a little feed. He was probably feeding this morning, knew that bait was there, and then came back for a little sort of mid-morning munch. But unfortunately for him, my hook was in that one. But we was just about to set up to show you the rig and the hook baits that I'm using. So we'll get this one back in. I'm gonna get Rob back out there just in case there's a few more floating around the area. And then we'll show you that rig and that hook bait that are catching these stunning Farlows carp. Right, here's the little rig that's been catching all these lovely carp. Now, this is a fantastic little rig for fishing over boilies and for fishing little wafter hook baits, and I'm gonna talk you through how I make it. So first off, you wanna get yourself about 8 inches of 30-pound armour cord and double that over nice and neatly so it's even at either end. And then get yourself some 15-pound boom, that's what I'm using, but a 25-pound boom or a 20-pound IQ2 would work just as well. And do the same with that, double that over so you've got a nice tight pinched loop at the end. Then simply get your armour cord and pass that through the loop section of your boom material. Now I normally have about an inch, inch and a half of the armour cord sticking out before I create my doubled over all bright knot. Once you've got about an inch and a half sticking out, I then get my doubled section of the 30-pound armour cord and whip that down the doubled over section of boom material 4 times. So you've actually got 8 bits of the armour cord going round the boom because it's doubled over. Once you've gone down 4 times, you want to pass that end section back through the looped section of the actual boom itself, but follow where the loop is actually going. So it's really important that you do follow the tag ends through where the loop is going. Once you've done that, you want to bed that knot down before tightening it. So use your fingers, use a little bit of saliva, just to bed that knot down nice and neatly so it looks nice before getting a little rig pulley, placing it in the loop section of the armour cord and pulling nice and tight. Okay, once you've got a nice bedded knot down and you're happy with it, it's nice and strong, you can then trim off your tag ends with a sharp pair of scissors. Once that's done, you want to cut off about 8 inches of the boom material, place on a short tungsten anti-tangle sleeve, and then via a extra small 0.5 crimp, you want about a 6-inch crimp of boom. Okay, so your actual boom section will be about 6 inches, then you'll have about an inch, inch and a half of the looped section of the armour cord. Once you've done that, get yourself 2 pulley tools and place one of them in the braided loop section and the other one in the crimped loop section and give it a good pull. Make sure it's nice and strong and nothing's moving. Make sure your crimp's good and also your all bright knot is not slipping. Once you've done that, you then want to grab yourself about an inch, inch and a half of small shrink tubing. Place that onto the braided section of your armour cord, and then I'm using a size 6 curve. I've also caught many carp on size 4 curves and also size 4 and 6 wide gapes. Once your hook is passed over the doubled section of the armour cord, you then want to get either a little rig ring, or if you've already got one on a bait, pop that on, open up the little loop, and then place that over the hook so you've got that slip-D effect. Once that's in place, you can then get your little bit of shrink tubing and place that over the eye of the hook so it actually goes onto the shank of the hook by about 4 mil. Once that's all completed, you can heat your kettle up, get a good bit of steam, and steam that rig so it's lovely and straight, and your shrink tube then is nice and shrunk to your hook. Now this rig really is a wafter rig only. It's definitely not a pop-up rig, and it's certainly not a bottom bait rig. You really do want to fish a wafter. Now I've been fishing little cork dust mainline link wafters with these ones here, but what I have done is I've had them infused in smart liquids for, if I'm honest, some months now, and they've almost turned to bottom baits as they really have absorbed all that smart liquid over time. Now like I said, I don't want this a bottom bait rig, so what I'm doing is adding a little bit of foam just to add a bit more buoyancy to the bait to make it a wafter again, and also gives it a little fleck of colour so it stands out amongst all them boilies out there on the bottom. And once this rig is created, you know, you can change the hooks so simply, have all your little hook baits tied onto your rig rings as well, so when morning bite time does come and you want to nick sort of 3 or 4 bites in that hour period, you've got a very good quick change rig with hook baits already tied up to get yourself back out there and making most of the good times. Right, it is almost time to press that repeat button and get these rods back over some bait, but I'm not going to go as mad as I did yesterday, and that is based on the fact that I've not seen many carp out there today, if not hardly anything since I had that last fish. You know, they may have drifted off into the pads today or around the islands, but my only saving grace is we've got a big old storm coming tonight, which hopefully, if they are in the pads or around the islands, will push them off into this slightly deeper water. We've got a bit of thunderstorm and a bit of rain, so you never know, fingers crossed. But at the minute, it does look a little bit like they've moved off, but nonetheless, we're gonna give them about 1.5 kilos of bait, get them same rigs out there, get them wafters out there, and sit tight for the evening's action, hopefully. Well, they couldn't have gone out there any better. The spomming also was on point, so it really is all down to if they show up or not. Well, you know, if the morning chat starts for brew, there's not many carp to show you, and that's pretty much the case. You know, I sort of went into last night thinking there's not a great deal out here. That's why I sort of pulled back on the bait a little bit, but it's a reliable area during the night. You know, even if they do vacate into the pads or around the islands, you can normally be assured that, you know, during the night they do drift back into this central zone and have a little feed up. But yeah, they really have gone off in numbers and are not returned. But that's the beauty of fishing, and that's the beauty of Farlows. You know, you've really got to be on it down here, because you can be on them 1 minute like it was, and then off them next minute. But you know, that tactic of, you know, heavily baiting with little wafters over the top in a vast area of nothing, you know, it can be really good when there's a lot of fish out there. But like I said, they've not turned it up, and if I was doing another night, then rods would be in now, and I'll be around the lake looking for signs of fish to get on. But we've got about an hour left, so you never know, anything can happen. I will sit here with my brew, taking in the morning, and hoping for the best. Well, that just about brings the session to a close. I think any opportunity is pretty much gone now, but you know, take the positives out of it. Fantastic morning's fishing yesterday, 4 lovely carp over them boilies and wafters, and yeah, we'll be back out again soon. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscription button, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.